everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I just wanted to do sort of a casual bit of art making today with an unusual material. I don't know if you can see it or not, but on top of my glass mat here, I actually have two jelly plates. This one is like a long rectangle and this is a smaller rectangle. The paper I'm going to jelly print on is actually just this. It's just like a brown notebook paper that I got in a thrifted book. It actually fits quite well on the surface of this. This is about an inch higher than the paper, but about an inch more narrow. So it will leave me the section with the holes. And then this is just sort of like the size of like maybe a larger cell phone. So what is the weird material I want to use today? It's actually something I've been collecting for a while, that I found some at my recycle center. It is bread ties. So these are plastic ties that go around bread bags here in Canada. I don't know if they have them everywhere or not, but they do have them here in Canada. We've recently, excitingly, moved to paper, so there won't be any more of these soon enough littering up our Great Lakes and oceans, which I'm excited about. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a little bit of printing. I may even print a few of these Rolodex cards with this little one. So I've just got sort of like a selection of paints that are slightly off camera that you can't see, and I just need to grab my brayer, but that's what we're going to do today. Okay, brayer acquired. So I'm going to first, on both of these, I'm going to put down kind of an undercoat of color. So I will go ahead and get started. I'm using a myriad of different mid-range and very inexpensive paints. So this is an acrylic paint from Color Factory. It's deep turquoise. So I'll put a little bit of turquoise on this one. That's probably more than enough. And then maybe just a little bit of this. I need to shake this one up a little. It's a Deco Art paint. I should have shaken them all ahead of time, but this is Deco Art Americana Citron Green. Oops, yeah, it needs a little more. These really need to be shaken or you just get the goop, the goopy goop. There we go. So that should be enough of that. And then maybe on the other plate, I will do a little Americana Saffron Yellow. This paint is flying through the air. It's very low. There's only a little bit left of this one. I've been trying to use up some of these paints because I just have many of them. And that's all I'm going to put on that one. I may do a little bit of color mixing, not 100% sure yet. So let's just go ahead and start kind of blending a little bit. I just kind of go down the middle. Now this is the first time I'm using these jelly plates, so they're a little bit, they're going to take a minute to kind of get saturated. They don't have that kind of been used before. Whoops, I put these maybe a little too close together, but that's okay. I was thinking I would be doing some kind of color mixing anyhow. Yeah, this is a little bit wet with too much of the translucent paint, but it's okay. Now it's getting there. Just kind of getting my brayer coated too. It's been a little while since I've done much jelly printing, so I'm just going to use one of these to just get the excess paint off, and that makes really good collage fodder later. It's just a nice piece of colored paper. And I may actually bring a little yellow on here. I just really like that. And then when I'm satisfied with how these papers look, I just set them aside and move on. Okay, now what I'm going to do with these bread ties is just kind of get a handful of them and lie them down geometrically here. It's a little bit, takes a moment to kind of get them all down. So what I'll do, I'll lay them all down in high speed for you. Okay, so these are all laid down now. So the shape of these kind of varies. These are from all different kinds of bread. So shape and size will vary a little bit. With this one, I had all of them in the same direction. And this one, I kind of just went a bit of a mishmash. I started off by kind of going like up, left, down, right, you know, kind of like, and then I just kind of got a little bit, you know, uneven. So there's a few different options that we have here. So this paint has not completely dried yet. You'll see I have here some tweezers. So what I'm going to do is just kind of do a test on an average one here and see, oops, I gotta put that back. Let's try a different one. Maybe this one. So maybe hold it, put your tweezer under it, and see, you can see that it has moved the paint around, hasn't completely you know, taken it all off, but it is going to make an irregular pattern. So you have two options. I can put paper on top of it to try to lift the paint and then remove these and do another print, or I can let it dry completely and then put more paint on top of the whole thing if I want to, and brayer over it. Yeah, I'm not sure what I want to do yet. So let's just do some experimenting. So I think I'm just going to go ahead with the big one. I'm going to remove all of them, and then I'm going to print that. And with this one, I will use paper. I will take this away. I might even use this piece here because I like this as a background, and it's a different color than the yellow. Let's get a little bit of sticky paint off there. Let's try printing this one off right now. Okay, so here we go. Let's just... So with jelly printing, when you're lifting wet paint, you want to, you know, make sure that you're rubbing the whole thing quite well, keeping the paper in the exact same spot, but you're almost making it a little bit hand warm. So like you should warm it up with your hand a little bit. And then in this case, I don't want to move this around because this is not, you know, a singular stencil. But I do think I have gotten in the majority of the little bits and bobs. Now, the one spot that will be hard to pick up will be those little center holes. So I'm just going to try to run my hand down. Okay. See, right there is good. But I don't want to tear the paper either. So, okay, now let's try lifting that up. All right, so what we got was pretty abstract, not particularly bread tag-ish. So let's try the other method. We will let this one just sit and dry, and we're going to like lift these ones up and put them off into my dish here. Trying not to move them too much. Just put this over here. Now you might want to go in and press them. Let's just see if that makes it a little more. Try not to move them. It's hard. But again, this is the fun of experimenting, right? My table is slightly uneven, so my glass mat is wiggling. There we go. Just gonna go in and press. Okay, now let's see if that changed it. So the best way to pick them up is put your finger on, tweezer in and off. Actually, that did make it a little better. See, they're more pronounced. Yeah, definitely do the press. It works. I mean, you honestly could also do it right when you're, you know, picking them up like this. This tweezer, by the way, is the kind where you pinch to open and then, it locks. I think that will be easier to make sure you don't drop it when you're lifting it up, right? Now there's a couple options once we get this lifted up. We could let it dry fully and put another color of paint on top, which is probably the most ideal thing to do. Or you can print it right away like this. I'm tempted to just let this dry completely and then put another color on. You know, it is a little bit, time intensive, not super time intensive, but you are fiddling with each one of these to pick them up. It's not the same as having a stencil, but this is also free and it's reusing. I've created some art materials that I will use again and again here. Definitely going to do this again. It's really fun. Okay. And I think with the little yellow one, I may just let that sit for a bit and let it dry as well. Now I know that this last row up here, it's not going to get picked up on the paper, so I can play with it and see how it would look if I were to pick it up right now. And I'm going to actually just use the same piece of scrap paper, just this top row. You can't see this, but here, let me just go up here and I'm going to try to lift it and see what we get. Without, letting it fully dry. Yeah, it's too abstract. Okay. Now it could also be the paper. I may try just some copy paper. Just some scrap copy paper as well. Just to see, because I know how this normally prints. Okay, so then let's see what happens when I pick these ones up. I did not do the smush with them. And I think that that's by intention because I don't want to lift the color off more with these ones, really, because I didn't leave any paint to outline them. Yeah, I think they're, let me try doing the smoosh and see. Does that add more paint? No. Yeah, so this one's just a little too abstract. I don't think lifting the paint right away is a good idea. It doesn't show me that it's a bread tag. Because they've kind of lost their shape. It's not as pronounced as this one. Okay, so I'm going to let these dry completely and then I'll come back and I will spray new color onto them. Okay, so these are completely dry now, so we can go ahead and put some new color on. So I think I'm going to use a bit of a wild color combo to just keep this interesting. So what I'm going to use on this one is a bit of this red Liquitex. This is Liquitex Basics Cadmium Deep Red Hue. So the yellow will have red behind it. Oops. That would be my tweezer. Okay. Put that on. And then we'll spray off this extra red. And then I think this one I'm going to use some pink. This is just an Americana. This is baby pink. And I think pink will look really nice behind this. Give it a good shake here. good. Yeah, nice and dry so that we're not going to smudge the colors. Okay. I think we have enough paint there. And I'll just add this back here. Okay, so as I was saying, I want to see how this picks up on the copy paper. So I'm going to use copy paper for the big one and then the brown paper for the little one. This is just some scrap copy paper that I had in my scrap bin. And then we really want to smooth this all down. Oops. Red-handed. Caught red-handed. All right. It's certainly a little easier now to bond the paper that we don't have the bread ties on there, and it's starting to get a little warm at the top, and then just get a little bit of a rub down here. There we go. And I can see the impression of the bread tag, so hopefully that means we're going to pick it all up nicely. Let's give it a try. Just take a little bit up. Yep, it's coming. Okay. Yes, look at that. That's so fun, right? I love it. I gotta say, I really love the fine little swirlies of paint. Awesome. Okay. Now let's do this one. I could stand to just move the paint a little more. That took a little bit off, but that's okay. Now let's try the brown paper here that I've been blotting paint on. That should be good. I don't know. Maybe it's this paper. Let's try one more. That might be the problem all along, is the paper. Not all paper is good for jelly printing. So we might need to use copy paper. This may not be sticky enough. Well, it's coming up this time, so possibly the issue is just that I had too much paint. But then, you know, it would have been nice to have this on top of the solid background. So I do think there's an element of the paper not really liking to cooperate. So I think I'll do another one, but I will use copy paper to print it. So I will do this video, do a few of these maybe in high speed to just show you how fun they are. Okay, I think I have found the secret to this. So, you know what? Look at that. Yay! So, I think the best way to do this is to just use one coat of paint rather than multiple. So do a nice color blend first of a few colors. Then you lay down all of your bread ties, which, by the way, once paint builds up on them and they get a little thicker and heavier, they're easier to handle. And the old paint, if you're doing one after the other, will stick to the plate as well, which makes an even more cool and interesting print. And then from there, you can press them all down. They will start to stick to your fingers, which are also going to be covered in paint if you do this, which actually works really well. So you press them down and give them a slight wiggle, and then you're going to get a really good imprint. So see, you can see these right through the paper. Now let's lift this. Okay. There we go. So it just gets more and more interesting and cool. So let me show you a few others that I've done. This will have another lift to it. I'll put more paint down on top of it, but I'll do that after. I just want to show these to you first. So there's this one. This is the last one that I did. Like I said, it works really well this way, just doing one coat of paint. These ones, I found that the 2 coats of paint is like too much for this kind of a stencil. This one, I just used too much paint. This one I'm still happy with. It's like the original one that I did, and I did that kind of technique. This is where the background paint did work well. I think I'll get better at it as I keep trying. This is another one of the ones that I really like with just one coat of paint. That was the first one that just didn't really turn out that well. But yeah, that is a lot of fun, and I hope you'll give it a try. As you can see, these do get a little painty, and your fingers obviously are going to get painty, but that's what we're here for, right? To play. So thank you so much for hanging out with me as we did a little bit of bread tie jelly printing, and I will talk to you again very soon. You can find all my social media links down below in the description box. Bye for now.